The Roth Show, brought to you by Ink the Original.
First taste of freedom that you really get from your family is either going to be the Boy Scouts, because you're going to get to go out and leave behind overnight. You're going to go out in the great outdoors, and there is some tiny fragment, sliver, element of danger, because it's the great outdoors. You never know. You might be stolen by a bobcat. You might fall into a ravine. Who even knows what a fucking ravine is? But we might fall into one. My mind was ready for that stuff big time, but perhaps a little more restricted, but a little more dramatically available on any given time is your bicycle. I don't mean the training wheels phase. I don't mean the tricycle phase. But even then, there's nothing like the sound of a big wheel coming at you on a broken tooth sidewalk. Just you are announcing, trumpeting your arrival. I've made an entire career out of trumpeting my arrival. And when I was done, I trumpeted Ed's. And when I was done, I trumpeted Mike's. And then I trumpeted mine again. And when I got everybody's attention, they said, "What do we do now?" And I said, "Let's dance." And they said, "For how long?" And I said, "The whole night." And they said, "And what do we do then?" I said, "We're going to jump." And then, and you know the routine. And hey, guys, take it to another level and take your whiskey home this time. I won't have to clean up after you. Continuity error. Sorry, other side. I'm looking in the monitor here. My suspender is twisted. We have to reshoot the whole thing. That's kind of an Axl Rose sort of thing. Day 732. Axl Rose on Chinese democracy detects a loose wing nut. No pun intended. The bottom pan of the hi-hat on one of the songs is clicking. We have to redo it, declares Axl. The track? No, the whole record. Starting with the very first tour Van Halen ever did, following Black Sabbath around for 22 cities in England. We followed Journey around the United States for another 50 or 60 cities, and I took my bicycle with me everywhere that I went. Not a motorbike, just a regular Raleigh, Schwinn, whatever it was at that point in time. And that's how I got to see the world. I got to see, sitting around, breathing it, feeling it, falling over it. I got some great dents in that other helmet there. I've almost gotten killed 2 times in New York City by somebody turning right just as I have. Pow! It's all part of, okay? Kind of helped lead me to become EMT because I saw some pretty good injuries along the way, and I wasn't quite sure what to do. I'd like to pull over. I'm on a bike, but I don't know how to handle something like that. You see the oops on a skateboard, or somebody, some oldster is going to take a tumble or something like that. See and hear, and you're going to smell a lot. Now, these days, and I was trained by my mom, the way people train their palate. Okay, what do you taste here? It's a little too much vinegar. People do that in kitchens all the time. Also, here in your nose, same thing. Your taste buds can only discern between 4 and 6 different flavors. Sweet, sour, maybe there's umami thrown in there, okay? But your nose, the average untrained olfactic, that means breathing, smelling, aroma, fragrance, odor, on and on, okay? Somewhere for the average human who is not trained to it, between 2,600 different familiars. Oh, that's a pencil eraser. That's detergent. Oh, that's a car tire. You're lying to me. You can smell that shit. That's right. That's adrenaline, baby. On a bicycle, you smell it all. That's why I complain about New York City, Los Angeles, Pasadena at night. Ooh, sour. Smells like a infirmary. It smells like a detergent factory. It smells like an industrial strength laundry. And I've worked in all those places, or I've made visits to all of those places. I've had the fortunate to grow up with absolutely nothing in our pockets. What's the joke? My parents tore my pockets off so I'd have something to play with. Mom used to use hamburger helper. Dad was a student. He was a doctor, okay? What was your dad when you were born?
Worked at a steel mill.
Okay, so probably not much different. I got a photo of my dad working his way through the very first parts of college in the GI Bill. He drove a taxi. And you'd recognize the smile. And then if you saw off camera, you'd recognize Mom. There was trouble early. 2 films will tell you where I come from. Who's Yours? Gene Hackman. He's transferred to a place in Indiana to become a basketball coach. And there is a scene where it's cloudy, it looks like rain, it's winter. That's where I come from. And when it was sunny and we got to go around some of the nicer neighborhoods on our bicycle, watch the film The Judge. Robert Downey Jr., Robert Duvall. He plays the part of a Chicago attorney. My mom came from the Chicago area. And he goes back home to a part of Indiana where his dad, Bob Duvall, is the judge. And it's a very small town like LaPorte, Indiana, where some of my relatives come from. And he takes a bike ride. And that bike ride, curiously enough, he's wearing a Metallica t-shirt. It's great. And he takes a ride, and I think he even takes his hands off the handlebars, okay, which you can do in that part of the country. In fact, you can close your eyes and take your hands off the handlebars, okay? I've done a lot of my career this way. And I came back to tell you about it. Learned how to do it in Indiana. Who's your style, okay? Newcastle. I was born in Bloomington. And back and forth and back and forth. The big outdoors, man. Go outside and play. How many times did you hear that growing up? Go outside and play. And that's all you got. That was the whole mission. That was the whole ambition. That was the goal. That was what you were to get good at. And you would come home and they say, how was it? And you go, I don't know. And they go, wow. Okay, it must have been very absorbing. Did you play hard? Nah. Did you learn anything out there? No. Gee, how'd you know when you were done? Well, I heard you call me for dinner. This was actual conversations. You got a haircut, put here like this, and shaved around like this, a haircut which you just paid $80 for somewhere about 20 minutes southeast of here. Don't pretend I don't know. And the fellow who gave you that haircut spent 3 years getting a degree in how to do it. Mom just took the thing and went, now get out here, go outside and play. My, how things have changed, but they did. But they did. I won't be part of it. 2 kinds of people on this earth, Tom. You're in the audio sciences. You're in show business. You are in the telecommunications industry, as am I, inclusively here. I think you will agree, but I'm going to ask you if you do or not. I think there are 2 kinds of people. There are headphones people, and there are boom in the room people. Do you agree?
I agree.
Which one are you?
Depends on the day.
Kids. The sky is blue. Not, well, what time is it? It's only a matter of minutes ago that I agreed to use the in-ear kinds of headset monitors that almost every other vocalist of every other persuasion. In the opera, we're using this kind of a gear. And for those of you who aren't quite aware, I know a lot of you are, but in case you're not aware, like I've always wondered what that is, this delivers the sound of a separate mix. Instead of having to stand in front of a monitor like we did for dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of years, okay, you would always see the monitor. And you would go and stand in front of the stage and you could only see the singer from the knee up or the middle of the thigh up, right? Because he has a huge monitor standing in front of him, and that feeds his voice back to him, and that's how he hears his voice when all the guitars and the Rolling Stones or Bruce Springsteen or Buffett or the opera or Broadway is happening. The only way that we could hear ourselves, we would sing, and the only way we would hear our voice, because it's so loud, you feel like you're at an airport sometimes, okay? And you talk and you go, and you can't hear yourself scream. It's sort of like the movie In Space, and remember this, Tom, in space, No one can hear you whine. I changed it for Tom. He knows what I'm talking about. You hear your voice coming out of that. I thought he quit there for a second. After a point, people started creating the same headsets that you would use. These are like hearing aid headsets or something that you'll see Anderson Cooper or one of the talking personalities or folks on television using. Somebody's coaching him in the headset, say, you got 10 seconds, 7 seconds. And the art form is to continue and not interrupt, don't disrupt while you're taking direction, or somebody's saying, ask him how come he didn't know. How come you didn't know, Tom? But you don't touch it. It's sort of like I Am the Wizard of Oz, but with a little reverb. Ask Tom Allen to turn up the music. Tom, that reminds me. And this is what's going on. It's sort of like in wrestling. The referee is calling the time. Did you know that? It's the referee who's leaning over and going, you got 2.5 more minutes, start the final now. And he's the one who's turning around. He's controlling the fight. It's not the fighters. They're going through their Shakespeare, a whole lot of Shakespeare going on. And once the battle scene of Hamlet, or what, is there actually a battle scene in Hamlet? Get right on that, Tom. Midwest. As soon as the battle scene kicks off, somebody's got to be sitting in there going, slow down. You got 4 more minutes. You're getting ahead of yourself. You should be at the car chase now. And that continues, all right?
The Roth Show, brought to you by Ink the Original.